Hello everyone, this is Lily, Assistant Professor from PG and Research Department of Commerce, St. Joseph's College of Arts and Science, Autonomous Cuddalore. Here we are going to see the e-content on the subject Business Law on the concept contract and essential elements of contract. So before jumping into the topic, let us know what is the contract is about. A contract is an agreement made between two or more parties which the law will enforce. According to Section 2, subsection H, defines a contract as an agreement enforceable by law. Every agreement and promise enforceable at law is a contract. So, it is also termed that agreement will be equal to offer and acceptance. Only if there is offer and acceptance, it will be termed as agreement, which will result in a contract. So this is the meaning. And coming to the essential elements of the contract, so which is very important. There are so many concepts in the Contract Act. But these essential elements are expected to be maintained in all parts of the contract. So it is very important to know this concept. So let us begin the essential elements of contract in detail. So first essential element, that is according to section 10, all agreements are contracts if they are made by the free consent of parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with the lawful object and are not expressly declared to be void. In order to become a contract, an agreement must have this following essential elements. That is why we have to have all these essential elements. So let us see one by one. The first essential element would be offer and acceptance. There must be two parties to an agreement. That is, one party making the offer and other party accepting it. The terms of the offer must be definite and the acceptance of the offer must be absolute and unconditional. The acceptance must also be according to the mode prescribed and must be communicated to the offerer. Okay, so next essential element would be intention to create a relationship. Okay, so that is legal relationship. When the two parties enter into an agreement, their intention must be to create legal relationship between them. If there is no such intention on the part of the parties, there is no contract between them. Agreements of a social or domestic nature do not contemplate legal relationship. For example, husband promised to pay his wife with household allowance of $30 every month. Later, the parties separated and the husband failed to pay the amount. The wife sued for the allowance, held agreements as these were outside the realm of contract altogether. So, yes. In the commercial and business agreements, the presumption is usually that the parties intended to create legal relations, but this presumption is too rebuttable, which means that it must be shown that the parties does not intend to be legally bound. Next would be lawful consideration. An agreement is to be enforceable by law, must be supported by consideration. Consideration means an advantage or benefit moving from one party to the another. It is an essence of bargain. In simple words, it means something in return must be received by both the parties. The agreement is legally enforceable only when both the parties give something and get something in return. A promise to do something, getting nothing in return, is usually not enforceable by law. So consideration need not be necessarily be in cash or kind. It may be an act, abstinence, or a promise to do or not to do something. So this is about the consideration. And next would be capacity to contract. Capacity to contract talks about the competency of the parties. The parties to the agreement must be capable of entering into the contract. Every person is competent to the contract. If he is the age of majority, that the person must be a major, he must have a sound mind and he should not be disqualified under any law which he is subject to. And flaw in capacity to contract may arise from minority. If the person is going to be lunatic, idiocy, drunkard, etc. Okay, so this capacity of contract is expected to be maintained highly. So next would be free and genuine consent. Okay, the consent which the parties give must be free and genuine. It is essential to be having a genuine consent of every contract, that there must be free and genuine consent of the parties to the contract. The consent of the parties is said to be free when they are of the same mind in all the material terms of the contract. The parties are said to be of same mind if there is absence of coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, etc. Only if these things are not going to be present, only then we can say it is out of free and genuine consent. Okay, so next would be to have a lawful object, which is legality of object, right? So the object of the agreement must be lawful. In other words, it means that object must not be illegal, immoral, opposed to public policy according to section 23. If an agreement suffers from any of these legal flaws, it would not be enforceable by law. And next would be agreement not declared void. The agreement must not be expressly declared void by law in force in the country. This to be highly maintained, right? So next would be like certainty and possibility of performance according to section 29. The agreement must be certain and not vague or indefinite. If it is vague and it is not possible to ascertain its meaning, it cannot be enforced. So like A agrees to sell B 100 tons of oil. There is nothing whatever to show what kind of oil was intended. The agreement is void for uncertainty. The terms of the agreement must also be such as are capable of performance. That is very important. Okay, so yeah. So next would be like legal formalities must be highly maintained. That is, a contract may be made by words spoken or written. As regards to the legal effects, there is no difference between a contract in writing and a contract made by word of mouth. It is, however, in the interest of the parties, a contract should be in writing. There are some other formalities also which have to be compiled with in order to make an agreement legally enforceable. Like in some cases, the contract would be expected to be stamped, or in some other cases, a contract besides being in written, it has to be registered. So yeah, some contract requires the presence of witness or registered. The required statutory formalities must be compiled with according to this section of contract act, right? So these are the important essential elements of the contract to be satisfied while making a contract between the offerer and the offeree. So yes, thank you.